relationships can be hard as a fearful avoidant because they are messy and they are confronting and you kind of just want to run away. So what made me stay in my relationship as a fearful avoidant? I am Pauline and I am so happy you are here because I had a healthy relationship. And if you've been following me or know anything about the fearful avoidant attachment style, healthy relationships are actually quite hard for the fearful avoidant because all of a sudden you are confronted with all your own fears and all your own resistances and negative associations around connection and love and healthy relationships. So it might seem like a healthy relationship is the easiest, but it actually means that you have to be willing to look at yourself and deal with yourself, which can be really, really hard. And so it is so logical that as a fearful avoidant, you may have this urge to just break up and run away and find this perfect fantasy relationship or partner that would not trigger these negative feelings, these messy feelings and emotions. So what made me stay in my healthy relationship as a fearful avoidant when I had no idea I had the fearful avoidant attachment style? I had no idea what a healthy relationship looked like. I genuinely thought that this wasn't the one. What was I doing? Why was I staying? It was boring. I thought my relationship was boring. It was not enough. There wasn't enough passion. I wanted what I saw in the movies. And I kind of knew that what was in the movies wasn't the truth. Like a lot of people said that that's not real. I said, yeah, sure, I know that, but I kind of still did want that. I had this fantasy image of what a relationship should look like. But I didn't break up, and I often wondered why I didn't. I thought I was being weak. I thought I was leading him on and hurting him, making me a horrible person. So I obsessed over the relationship even more, analyzed even more. That didn't work. But I stayed, and I stayed again and again. And looking back, it is so easy to say that there was always this really small voice that said, this is good, he is good for you. But at the moment, that was like this small voice compared to like this big of a megaphone shouting in my ear that I had to leave and what was I doing, and I was not being truthful to myself, and so many demands and fears and threats by my fear brain. So yeah, it's easy now to say there was always this soft voice, but it was so soft that I barely heard it and I didn't take it seriously. So I really started thinking, what made me stay? Why didn't I break up? Because in a way, it would have been easier. But the first reason that just came immediately is because my now husband, we've been together for 15 years and have been married for 9. He's just an amazing person, an amazing man. He's so kind, and it being with him just felt so warm. It felt like coming home, but in a way to a home that I didn't know before. Um, and that kind of scared me also because it felt like it was too much of a friendship instead of passion. I mean, all of this seems easy now, but it was in the crash state of the fearful avoidant attachment style. It was just chaos all around. So I don't want you to think that all of these things that I'm mentioning were very clear, black and white. It was very confusing, all of it. But I could see that he was just a very kind person towards me, towards other people. And again, I judge that also as being not truthful or being too kind or too people pleasing. I don't know. My fear brain made all kinds of things up about it. Uh, but he was kind and he was warm. He still is. Um, and he was very sincere. I remember on our first date that I just realized that, like, oh, you're very honest and very sincere, and not honest in like a brutal way, just honest. Uh, I couldn't see him lying, and he hasn't in 15 years. Um, so yeah, I just saw what a genuinely good person he was. That was one of the reasons. And then, of course, my fear brain made that to be, well, even if he's a good person, that doesn't mean that he's the one or that you should be with him. And, you know, your fear brain can make anything about anything. um, and then what made me say after that was knowing what real, long, happy relationships look like. So when we were a couple years into our relationship, and I realized that I definitely had some issue with receiving love, unconditional love, without actually working for it or doing anything for it, because that's what he was giving me. I thought, okay, maybe maybe I have to work on myself. And this was in a time where that was not common at all. I mean, I love what has been happening in the last 5 years, where talking about healthy relationships, like, it's super normal now. But 15 years ago, or 14, 13, 12, 10 years ago, when I was in the middle of this, it wasn't. It was just, if he's not the one, you have to break up and find another person. It was very shallow in a way. But I just kind of realized while working on myself that I didn't know what long and happy relationships actually look like, because everybody said the movies aren't real. Um, my parents were still together, still married, but it wasn't really the example I was looking for. And so I just interviewed a couple that had been happily married for 50 years, and I just got them through friend of a friend, and I asked them 112 questions, I think, in 3.5 hours, and they answered every single one so patiently. And after that, my mind was kind of blown with just very down to earth romantic wisdom. So it was realistic romantic wisdom. And it was so interesting that the picture they were painting, the things they were saying, were actually an exact match to my relationship that I had with Aryan, my then boyfriend, now husband. And I never ever had heard that before, which is so sad to think about, isn't it? I mean, I watched movies, I watched all these, or I read all these magazines for girls and for women, and I never came across stories like this that actually confirmed that my relationship with Aryan was really good. And so after that one interview, I drove home and I thought, I have to know more about this. I am going to interview 100 couples who have been happily married for over 40 years, because I figured then you have the wisdom to really look back on your marriage as a whole. And I mean, that whole project was just, it was the best thing I could have done at that point and that time. In that time, because there were no other examples, there were no real life examples, and nobody was talking about healthy relationships. So I did that in a year and a half. I interviewed 100 couples, and um yeah, knowing what it looked like in real life, not from the movies, that made me stay so hard because again and again these couples told me things that were actually present in my relationship with Aryan, that I never heard from any source, are valuable in the long run. And maybe you're thinking, but you could have guessed that, right? Were you that dumb? Yeah, I may have been that naive that I thought it was all about passion and how to keep it exciting, and never really looked at, okay, but what does it mean to raise children together? What kind of characteristics does your partner then need? And what do you base a choice on? And, things like feelings come and go. That was the first time I ever heard that was from these couples. I never heard that before. I thought you have to be in love all the time, 100%, super intense for the rest of your life. And these couples lovingly laughed at me and said, "Oh no, that's not how feelings work. They are gone for sometimes a long time. And it's the choice that keeps the feeling coming back. It's the choice for love that keeps the loving feeling coming back. It's not that you base your choice on that loving feeling, just on that loving feeling." Stuff like that. I mean, that's just, it's so absolutely invaluable to know those things. Um So that definitely made me stay. And also something that the couples mentioned and that I realized I had in my relationship was the feeling that we could grow endlessly. It felt like there wasn't really an end to where we could grow to, and that had a lot to do with the fact that he didn't have a set image of me. I didn't have to be a certain person, a certain type, um, that would fit into his image of what he wanted in his life. He just loved me as a person, which was very liberating and scary at the same time because I had no idea who I was. But I did think, I do think I did have an idea that that was important to be together for the rest of your life. And 15 years on, I mean, we're not near the 40, but 15 is some years. uh, I can see how that is just very, very valuable to have a partner that doesn't put you in a box, that doesn't have this set image of you, like you have to be this or do this or otherwise I can't be with you anymore. I've grown so much, he has grown so much, and is, yeah, is the same, but also in a lot of ways different. Um, and that just makes it exciting, you know. If things aren't where we want them to be now, I know that we have this capability of growing endlessly. So, yeah, it just makes me kind of excited for the next 25, 30, 35 years. I hope we have a lot of years together. And what also really helped was turning uh, my destiny belief into a growth mindset. And that means a lot of people, especially women who love romantic movies, they tend to have a destiny belief. There is the one, there is a person that will make you happy, that will complete you. Um, and with that person you won't run into too many problems, you won't have too many fights, everything will just be perfect. I definitely had a destiny belief, and when I read this research surrounding destiny beliefs versus growth beliefs, it was quite shocking to see that people with a destiny belief tend to be so much more unhappy in their relationship, and their divorce rate is like 2 to 3 times higher than the people with a growth mindset. So that definitely turned something around, where I thought, okay, maybe I should adopt a growth mindset, which meant that instead of seeing the choice for your partner as the wrong thing when things aren't going the way you want to, you think, oh, okay, there's this person that I love, and that is just also a person. They are not perfect, they are not Superman. And so we grow together and we run into this problem, whatever it is. So, how do we grow from this? And how do we make sure that our problems um, lead to growth instead of deterioration of our relationship? And that changed so much to it changed where my energy went to, because before, anytime something didn't go right, I would think, oh, you see, the choice for him was wrong, he is wrong, this relationship is wrong, I have to break up. And that's where all my energy went to. And then when I adopted more of a growth mindset, I thought, okay, nobody's perfect, everybody has problems in the relationship, on average 5 problems that you can never solve the rest of your life. So maybe I shouldn't focus on, not having any problems, but how can we grow, and how can we let love grow and build our relationship and invest in our relationship. And that really helped, because it just it takes away the pressure you put on yourself to have it be perfect right now, which is unrealistic and not fair to you or your partner. And change that to, okay, how can we build our relationship through the different phases that life brings? And that is such a beautiful um, team effort almost. You're in it together and you do that together, whereas the destiny belief is like, you're wrong, you are the wrong choice. And it kind of sets you opposite from each other, and more in a fighting mode. So yeah, that growth mindset really did help also. There are probably more more things that made me stay, but these were some of the most important ones. And I do want to say again, it wasn't easy. It wasn't that when I knew all of these things, it was like, oh yeah, sure, we'll stay together. But the combination of these things really helped me make it easier to stay in the moments that I was struggling. When I wasn't feeling anything, I didn't feel any love, I didn't feel any attraction, I didn't feel anything. It really helped me to know that the happiest couples have this. Feelings come and go. It really helped me to know that, okay, even if this is not working in the way that I want right now, it can work in the future. And how can we grow from this? So yeah, I hope this helps you too, to maybe stay in a healthy relationship. You never have to stay. I'm never ever telling you to stay. That is completely your choice, obviously. But yeah, if you feel like you have found a wonderful partner and you want to work on yourself, maybe this helps you to make that a little bit easier. Please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to hear from you as always. I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one.
Healed and Happy is a tailor made online program where me and my team personally guide you through healing the roots of the fearful avoidant attachment style.